Hey, hello Mechwarriors, it is Tim Wolf back at it again, today with something a bit different. So, as you can probably tell, just with the new paint job, it's this is a DLC only paint job. So on the note of DLC, we are doing an initial impressions of the second DLC for Mechwarrior 5. I also have a few mods installed as well. So if you look on Nexus, all the recently updated, so a few of the major ones like Scary Tanks and the Biomes mod. I've also got my No Nasty Radio mod installed, and I'll get into that later. I also have a prototype version of my Realism mod, which is getting a complete overhaul. So yeah, a lot of sound's going to change, and a lot of sound's going to be more thumpy, more detailed. It's going to sound like a different sound mod. But in terms of the sound mods, I'll just get straight to the simple part. So you'll see that a lot of sounds have changed. Still some sounds need a bit of work. I still think mech footsteps need a bit of work. For some reason, the heavy mech footsteps they don't sound how they would sound when I'm editing them, so they're a lot less thumpy. So I'll have to check that out and do a little playing around, but otherwise I'll just have to modify the footsteps. But solid mech footsteps should sound pretty good. And on that note, I am pretty much in the middle of playing I guess they call it the long campaign or the long-term contracts in this mod. So what is new to this DLC in terms of gameplay wise is that you've got long-term contracts instead of just short, like fly to a planet, you do a mission and you get paid afterwards with salvage, and then that's it. Choose to do whatever you want after that. You can go to the cantina, have a drink, whatever. But in this in this DLC, oh man, when a modder plays around with too many mods, everything feels like a mod, including content. But I digress. So yeah, I don't have yet another MechLab installed, obviously, because I'm still waiting for that to be uploaded. But basically, just with mods, guys, as a modder, I would recommend you playing through either the base game or the DLC content or the story modes and stuff first, without any major gameplay overhaul mods, as it can actually, depending on the mod itself, can actually upset the balance, making the game too easy or too hard, and or just reduce further immersion in the game to how the developers wanted you to play it. So I'd recommend just play through the story and the game of how it's designed first. Although certain mods, which, like I said, I'll get into later, I would pretty much recommend you get into it straight away. As I do have a few complaints with this DLC, but most of my initial impressions are positive. So while I'm refitting this Victor, we will get into first thing. So UI sounds. There's new UI sounds. I didn't really have a problem with them before. Like the first DLC changed around some of the UI sounds, and, which was cool, I guess, and definitely was an improvement. But it also kind of bugged the UI audio sounds, which made modding them difficult, but possible, just difficult. But there are new UI sounds sound pretty alright, including cockpit UI sounds. here. I don't think we'll be able to use this mech straight away though. That's probably my issue. I don't want to do that. So we're just gonna chuck in a bunch of heat sinks and then I'll get straight on my train of thought. Just take some head up. Yeah, about that. Right, cool. So we've got some mechs set up to repair. So this is some of, yeah, so that's so basically when you access the DLC content, you need to go in the career mode, and so all those contracts there were from the first DLC. So I restarted the game just for a fresh start to test everything out, and in the second DLC, like as you can see, the UI has changed a bit. It's an improvement, but I hate to do it, but I'm really just gonna bang on the devs here and say this looks like stock your Unreal 4 kind of like font and design, like basic design. It doesn't really scream like BattleTech themed or anything like that. It's just very basic. I would say it's not very minimalistic either. I mean, it kind of, if you really want to relate it to something, it kind of looks like 2013 iOS 6 kind of icons in terms of like its theme. So it kind of looks outdated already, modern but kind of outdated. But then you got the minimalistic kind of fonting up here. So I don't know, I think the UI is a bit all over the place. Hopefully PGI can kind of go over this and update this a bit better. So I guess on the mini-map you'll see with all the out of bounds areas, it's got those kind of like checkered lines and stuff like that. Well, the other older mech games kind of had like checkered lines themed kind of things, and like industrial and military kind of like metallic kind of tabs and like glow tabs in Mechwarrior 4. I mean the glow tabs in Mechwarrior 4 are just timeless and stuff like this, but it just looks really basic. I might play around with some of the UI features and see if I can introduce some of that, see how easy it is, because I need to know for sure, because probably around the end of the year I will release a full review of pretty much all DLCs in the base game, and it's going to be very comprehensive. So this is just going to be an initial overview for now, so it's not going to be scripted, it's going to be quite messy. So yeah, so obviously I'm pretty much already in the pretty, I guess, deep into it. I'm not too sure if it's like once you accept one long-term contract, it seems like the game makes it seem like there's multiple long-term contracts, but I've got a feeling that it's just one or two. Like first, there's a first one that's kind of like a tutorial kind of thing, where it just sets up the jungle biome, and the jungle biome is really nice. Really appreciate the level of environmental variation in terms of the assets and trees and stuff. We finally get large trees. That is a big plus. I've been waiting for that for pretty much a couple of years now since release, and I was really disappointed because you could see it in the alpha video showcases that PGI did, that they had like jungle trees and some like fallen logs and all that kind of stuff, and you never got it in the game, which was very, very disappointing, and everything just looked exactly the same, like cut and copy paste assets, and some huge gripe of mine. But the jungle biome I mean, I can understand why they did it, because if we get into the jungle biome again, we will see that my frame rates do drop heavily in certain circumstances. But you know what? It's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. I'd rather be immersed in the actual game with varied assets, and then I kind of modify the game to my liking in terms of performance. But I kind of still want the assets to be there. I would say to the devs, if you guys actually watch any of my videos or will, I would probably just drop down maybe the resolution of the textures just a tad for maybe trees and stuff like that, and because like I will give props to PGI, the models for the assets that they make for like any environmental props and just like built natural whatever, highly detailed, really good looking, but that also just comes at a cost. So I can compare it to other games like even Battlefield. I mean, everyone loves the graphical detail, say let's go with Battlefield 1, but you can go with any modern Battlefield game. Everything looks great, especially at a distance, but you get really close to the textures and they get really, really blurry, even at the highest details. In Mechwarrior 5, you can get really close to the textures in-game and zoom in, and they'll still look extremely high res, which is it's great. I mean, it's pretty immersive, but we're playing from a mech point of view, not from an on-the-ground, under a microscope point of view, and so it's in the end a wasted resource. But I mean, it's cool if you play at higher resolutions and such. So yeah, that's my thing. I'm just gonna read over this. I'm not gonna talk while I do it, guys. If you want to do that, listen to Baradol. I would say I'm actually rather impressed with the story. It is actually pretty immersive for the DLC. It's very interesting, and the cinematics that they just kind of implemented into a few, like whenever you're traveling to the different planets and stuff, they've got little cutscenes. Good job. I mean, I never really asked for it or wanted it, but it definitely adds a layer of polish. I do want to Zuck one thing. So this is supposed to be a briefing panel, when all it is just a cartoon character, the logo behind it, and a text screen. I'm just gonna refer to like just Mechwarrior 4 again and Mechwarrior 3, although referring to Mechwarrior 3 would be a bit harsh because Mechwarrior 3 took their briefing screens very seriously. Mechwarrior 4 was very simplistic and just had like we're gonna have characters talk here and there. So it's more of this, but you got to see live action, and then you got to see the map. I don't know why. So I don't know why the devs could not put a map here. These aren't randomly generated missions. These are hand-built maps and such. So I don't know why we don't have the map in front of us here and going through like strategic positions and stuff like that. So that's something that I gotta Zuck. Sorry guys, but it's just I gotta bring it up. It's a bit disappointing. If we're gonna have a mission briefing with hand-built missions, we should at least have the map in front of us, and then we can just, I don't know, maybe choose if we can attack at day or night. Just yeah. Because people have been asking that for or just like randomly generated missions from the start, but there's been issues with randomly generated missions and briefing screens because missions are generated pretty much as soon as we hit the load button, so they can't generate a map before. But you don't have to generate a map if it's hand built, I assume. Otherwise, maybe it's got to do with the system around it. Otherwise, I don't know. It's just something that I wanted to bring up. If it's not possible, it's not possible, but I really would like that too. Yeah. So let's get into some gameplay now. I'll talk about more of the gameplay when we're in it. So I'll pretty much talk about visuals, environment, gameplay interaction, and audio. So you can see there's a new audio sounds for the UI clicks, which is okay. I didn't really care about it before. And we won't be able to use it. So here's an interesting thing. You have like 15 days where you can actually repair your mechs. Or in this case it's 37 days. And if your mech's not ready in 37 days, you can't use it. If your characters are not ready within that time frame, well, it sucks to be you because you have to choose a different mech. So we'll go to the Marauder here. And these should be ready to go. Ready? There we go. Very interesting feature. I like that. Let's get more immersion.
Attention. Prepare for battle mech departure. Warning. Hangar doors opening. Stand clear.
Reactor online. Sensors online. Weapons online. All systems nominal.
We're coming up on the ruins of the HPG relay station. I've marked the map with the last known location of the Fusiliers transponders being sent. After they all went rogue. Be sure to be on your guard and watch your backs. McCarran's armored cavalry is still breathing down our necks looking to finish us off for good. Let's go find our answers. Contact. Enemy.
Target acquired. Target destroyed. Target destroyed.
So as you can tell, guys, I am using a
I see them. Whoever they aren't with the Fusiliers. This is Captain Alana Damu of the 5th Certus Fusiliers. Who the hell are you, and why are you using our transponder signals?
We serve a purpose much higher than yours, my child. I regret you coming here. Now I'm afraid I cannot allow you to leave this place alive. Die, knowing your sacrifice will usher humanity into a new golden era.
Target acquired.
Screw that and screw you! I don't have any plans on dying today, but I do plan on dismantling you imposters piece by piece until you tell me what I want to know.
Nice one, boss. It's starting to glow.
Target destroyed. Target acquired.
So as you can tell, guys, this isn't the stock sounds. So it's like the sound reduction here is like
Target acquired. Target destroyed. Target acquired. Target destroyed. Critical. Target acquired. Target destroyed. Heat critical. New target, Marauder. Target acquired. Heat critical. Target destroyed. Heat
Naive
critical.
fool! You don't even
Target
realize you are
destroyed.
nothing more than a
Target
pawn in
acquired.
someone else's game.
And I'm sure that ominous word vomit spewing from your mouth is supposed to actually mean something.
Didn't you know? Your first prince sent you here to die.
Ha! Not the first time the Fusiliers have heard that one.
Ah, but it's true. Hans Campion wishes to see your
Target
duke's
destroyed.
prized
Target
Certus
acquired.
Fusiliers offered up to
Target
House
destroyed.
Liao as a blood sacrifice. Retaliation
Target
for Duke
destroyed.
Michael Hasek-Davian's
Heat
treachery, selling Federation
Target
secrets directly to
destroyed.
Maximilian Liao.
That's a fairly active imagination you have there. The Confederation's ambassador to New Certus kidnapped our Duke and took him to Xi'an, where Max Liao executed him in cold blood. Duke Hasek-Davian was a patriot to the entire Federated Sons and died at the hands of a madman.
Duke Hasek-Davian was a traitor to your nation who sought New Avalon's throne for himself. He fled to Xi'an on his own free will. He was even willing to use you and your 5th Fusiliers to attack your own countrymen in the name of the Confederation.
What an interesting series of mental gymnastics you've laid out there. And how, might I ask, would you know all of this?
We have our ways, my child, but that is of no concern
Target
to you.
acquired.
Die, knowing that your sacrifice here will serve as the foundation for a better, more peaceful inner sphere.
We have our ways as well, of putting imposters like you into the ground. If you won't tell us the truth now, we'll just have to drag it out of you after we rip you out of your cockpits and make you pay for what you've done.
We have already been nothing but honest with you. In time, the rest of the inner sphere will see things as we do. It's a shame that you won't be around to witness it.
Incoming missile. Target destroyed. Target acquired.
You heard the boss. Let's light it up.
New target assassin.
Reporting critical damage.
Heat critical. Target destroyed. Target acquired. Heat critical. Target destroyed. Target acquired. Target destroyed. New target charger.
Affirmative. Commander target is now priority.
Incoming missile. Heat critical. Incoming missile. Target destroyed. Target acquired. Heat critical. Target destroyed. Target acquired.
Repeat, the commander is down. Begin recovery operations.
That didn't go to plan. Anyway, guys. So as I was saying, sound mod's obviously enabled here, so it's not a representative of what you would get in the stock game, but basically, pretty much the sounds haven't changed, apart from the UI, and of course the addition of melee. For some reason, the melee sound isn't working properly with the sound mod. Now, talking about sound, BGR still hasn't removed the nasty radio filter, so you could hear pretty much like the Davian commander chick there. She would have just had the the bad guy kind of filter that the enemy mechs and stuff have in the stock game. She just would have had that filter, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. And it's like the same kind of thing with pretty much all the DLC characters and stuff like that. They'd all have this like evil guy filter on them, and they just sound like the bad guys. And even then, like, bad guys shouldn't all sound the same, because they all have completely different voice actors, and until you take the filter off, you can't actually hear that. So that's my biggest annoyance, is the usage of that filter on pretty much every single voice actor, which it pretty much just takes away from their performances and their nuances, because you can't hear that, because the filter just absolutely just takes away from that. So PGI is kind of like shooting the actors in the foot there, and just giving us a really bad experience with that filter. It was an easy fix to do, so I'm not even sure why the time was spent to implement it in the first place, but yeah, that's probably my biggest complaint. Otherwise, as you can see from like the greenery and stuff like that, trees, I mean, usually the jungle biome is a bit more dense than this, like far more dense, and it looks great, honestly. So if we just maybe return to the title, because I don't want to make that actually a loss, just in case I don't know what happens if I actually lose. So just get these mods enabled at the moment. But let's go into instant action just to have a look at some of the new other features that came with the DLC. I won't go into gameplay, as I don't want to make this an hour-long video. So, mission types. Completely different mission types. By the way, I've got Coyote's mission. Yeah, his mission's installed as well, so attack and defend isn't part of it. But let's go. So, targeted kill, garrison duty, scorched earth, objective raid, battlefield. It's a thing, because Coyote also has a battlefield, so I'm not too sure if they override each other. And that'd be very interesting to see what actually happens if I play that. But there's variations of these other missions. I haven't actually tried them yet, but good job. We've asked for variations with the basic missions for a while. Now, even though we have more enemy factions and like in the game and the DLC, it's not coming up in instant action. So you can't play for the bad guys in the BattleTech game and stuff like that, which is actually featured in the game missions. But whatever, doesn't really make much of a difference. And there's more biomes and stuff like that. Let's go for, where is it? So you got Tourmaline Desert, which is basically like a remake of Tourmaline Desert in Mechwarrior Online. It looks really, really, really good. Really good job there, PGI. It basically looks like an upscaled, pretty version of Tourmaline Desert. I'm really satisfied with that. There's also a mega city, which I'm probably reading over. It's probably going to be large, doesn't it? I don't know. Maybe it's military or be anything. I don't know if it's maybe just based on that, but there should be a mega city. Yeah, right there. Yeah, so a complete urban biome. Can you play it at night? Yes, we can. Let's just bulk up that. No range race. How about we make it moderate? Yeah. So how about we go into Mega City and see how that goes?
Heads up, Commander. Weather conditions in the area will restrict visibility and have an effect on your sensors.
Right. So let's get into this just quickly. We'll probably get sucked within the first 5 minutes, so don't worry.
Allied forces are attempting to withdraw from this area and need us to screen their retreat. We're to link up with the remaining friendlies screening the retreat and hold the enemy forces as long as possible. We have an opportunity for a hefty combat bonus the longer we can hold the enemies back.
Contact!
New target, Shadowhawk.
Another kill for the glorious House of Liao.
Target acquired.
Nearly there, Commander. Approach the hidden object to pick it up.
Target acquired. Target acquired.
I got it! Be advised, Dynasty unit has gone critical.
Target acquired. Heat critical. System offline.
Got another one.
Heat critical.
Component lost. This will not reflect well on me.
System offline.
Enemy mech eliminated.
Commander, you've got the Ops Force's attention. They are converging on your position. Brace for hostile contact.
Sensors detecting enemy mechs.
That was easier than I thought.
New target created.
We're on your target, Commander.
Heat critical. System offline.
taking heavy damage. Requesting support. Going critical. I'm
Target
punching out.
destroyed.
So as you can see, like Mega City is just completely open. I would say I'd like these taller buildings, like kind of everywhere.
Target mech down.
I'd like a Mechwarrior where you pretty much had no visibility just because of like tall towers getting in the way.
Enemy forces continuing to converge on your location. Stay frosty, Commander.
It's still pretty good. But this is supposed to be a large map size, and it's, I don't know, it's small for a large map, so I don't know, hopefully we can explore it in the future.
Hostile aircraft on radar.
It's big enough.
Yeah!
Target Warhammer.
Just for the sake of it, you know.
Heat critical.
Enemy mech compromised. Dynasty unit taking enemy fire.
System offline. Heat
Good kill, Commander. That mech is going critical.
target acquired.
Shared target engaged.
Target destroyed. Target acquired.
Recon has spotted additional bogies, heading along a trajectory that intersects with your position.
Target destroyed. Target acquired. New target Thunderbolt. Target acquired.
Confirm. Enemy mech on its heels.
Cataphracts.
That's close enough. Ready to start pickup operation. with the commander. Does anyone have eyes on him?
So yeah, I guess he's really good. But yeah, just in conclusion, guys. So I also noticed that the visuals have improved as well. So overall, everything's gotten a lot better. It's a lot more polished, I would say. The game definitely feels a lot more polished, more beautiful, runs well, except for the jungle biome. But I'm not asking for the devs to downgrade that, make it look worse. Honestly, I'd rather soft the performance than have an ugly looking biome, because jungle is probably like the best. It's really good. Can't fault it. I still want to zuck the missile sounds, so I'm complaining about the stock missile sounds, that is. Guys, it's just really harsh on the ears. It's all highs and mids, no bass. It just sounds really fried. I just hope the audio guy can kind of just touch that up, maybe add a bit more bass, reduce the harsh highs, and make it less fried. Like, you can add a bit of distortion for the loudness, but add some bass in there to kind of like balance it a bit more. Otherwise, yeah, mechs still don't respond to different materials in terms of footstep sounds, so that's something else I gotta zuck. Understandably, that is due to how the tiles are generated in terms of material. It's fixable, but I think it does break some compatibility with some mods, so that's probably why the devs didn't do it. So yeah, this is just a few things here and there. No first person or third person cockpit sounds. It's not such a big deal, but Mechwarrior Online had that filter, I believe, where you switch to first person, third person cockpit sounds, and the sounds did sound a bit different. It wasn't too much of a difference, but it was still there, which is kind of what you want, I guess. Otherwise, yeah, I really like the new voice actors. They are really good. I'm probably just gonna say, while there's new buildings and stuff like that, guys, they do look generic. There's no faction insignia, like Battletech styled buildings, no mech hangars or vehicle hangars, no aerospace fields, no actual aerospace like bombers or anything like that. So I think we need more air vehicles, and especially airplanes and stuff like that. Like, get some bombers in there, get some aerospace fighters shooting AC-2s and stuff like that, because that was really cool. Also, BGI, please have dropships spawn, I don't know, or just be generated in a mission. Maybe make a mission around it where we have like a Union dropship in, I don't know, maybe make it in a biome where you've got a jump ship factory, or dropship factory, or just maybe that's landed in a swamp somewhere or something like that, and you got to destroy it before it launches again, or before it gets repaired. Like, that stuff was cool. Now, they did, I will say, they did implement orbital cannons, and they look awesome. And the amount of detail on them is awesome. Just a thing though, mobile orbital guns. That would have been a cool thing to add as well. And maybe the MODLs. So if you played Mechwarrior for Black Knight, MODLs basically orbital cannons, mobile orbital cannons, but on steroids. They have defenses like pulse lasers and stuff like that all around them, and they were freaking massive and hard to kill. But yeah, that was good fun. So, I mean, it is Mechwarrior, and you expect to play against other mechs. But part of the interesting thing about Mechwarrior is you get to blow stuff up, and the bigger the stuff is, the more exciting and the more visual reward it is. Like, sure, you can buy new weapons, get new tech and stuff like that, but if you're just using it to shoot the same old, like, easy to kill enemies and then you get a bit overpowered, it gets really repetitive. So PGI, I'm just saying, assets in the editor, it's all ready to go, but like, please implement like bigger targets. Dropships would be a start, and it was literally in the alpha teaser you could see dropships floating down. In the first DLC you'd had dropships floating down once you finished a beachhead mission. That was really cool, and I really love that. Like, that was such a cool sight to see. You finish a mission, all the dropships touch down. Although the mission of the orbital cannons, that doesn't happen at the end of that one, which is a bit weird because you shoot down the orbital cannons so dropships can land, but at the end of it, no dropships do land. So I think that's a bit of a mistake. You guys could just copy and paste the event from first DLC to the second. That would have been a quick fix. So yeah, otherwise, pretty much it's a complete overhaul to the game. Melee is cool. I haven't touched mech switching. I'm not really interested in mech switching at all. Visuals definitely look better. Some mech models have been updated as well, I can tell, and the textures. So really glad that they've been touched up even more. Honestly, the guys doing all the models in terms of like textures, environmental details, built details, they're doing a great job. Honestly, AAA stuff really, in an indie game. That's just how good it is. But I'm just going to lay it out here. What I want to see improved is 1. Battletech themed built environments. Not generic modern day city themed stuff that you can go outside and have a look and it's there. But sci-fi, Battletech themed things. I want to see, when I raid a base, I want to see if it's a Liao base, a Davian base, and have Davian themed buildings and stuff like that. So crap ton of mech factories and vehicle factories. Have some civilian vehicles going around driving on the roads, because you walk into cities and there's basically no life to them. Even though when you're doing a destruction mission, you've got an announcer that's saying, oh no, people live there, you're killing innocent lives and such and such. It's like, dude, there's nobody on the street, all the vehicles are abandoned, so it's like, why is everyone inside the buildings just like hiding there? Just, why don't you just try it? Like, why is nobody trying to escape? Doesn't make any sense. So basically, just if I were to sum it up, have a look at Mechwarrior 4, see what they did, and implement what's missing. That's basically my message to the devs. Like, everyone wants clans, yes, but if we didn't get that anytime soon, if we had Battletech themed buildings, not only brings them more immersion, but it's also very marketable. It is very marketable, and it will bring lots of nostalgia. I bought this game out of nostalgia. I started modding out of nostalgia. Nostalgia is powerful. So PGI, listen, Battletech themed buildings, get mech hangars that you can walk through, vehicle hangars. Just Mechwarrior 4 had that immersion of Battletech themed buildings and stuff like that. So just take inspiration off that and then put it in a big PGI kind of theme. It's a lot of the buildings here, they just look very generic, like sci-fi generic. And it kind of just takes you out of, oh, it's another mech game, to we implement Battletech themed buildings and stuff like that. Then it feels like Battletech, you know? So yeah, that's one of my major gripes. So implement enemies from other games, previous titles, so dropships, aerospace fighters, stuff like that. I like the improvements to lighting, but in terms of missions, maybe make some of the lighting a bit brighter, and not too sure if ray tracing has an effect on that. I don't have a ray tracing card, so but either way, the static lighting seems to be improved overall. Otherwise, I'm gonna fix it up anyway. That's part of Mechwarrior Enhanced, so I'm not gonna bash on too much about that. I know the devs did it just by modifying all the files for performance reasons, which is fair when you guys wanted to release to PlayStation 4 and 5. Makes sense? So, not gonna bash it. Performance over looks, but still maintaining looks, and everything looks great. So, yeah, it's pretty much mostly positive. It's just kind of things like, we're getting there to the point where, yes, the devs are trying to implement everything that we want slowly. I'm happy to pay for that. I mean, it was $30, and honestly, I did expect less for such a DLC that was announced pretty much 2 weeks before release. So, oh, okay, well, this is an interesting surprise, and so I didn't have high expectations. But I would say I'm pleasantly surprised and impressed with this DLC. Another thing that I wanted to zuck gameplay wise, nav points. NG had a rant on previous DLC not including nav points, and us more hardcore or experienced Mechwarriors who've played the older games know that nav points are important when knowing your way around the map, and it's also very useful to send your lance mates to a certain nav point. And in Mechwarrior 5 you only have 5 lance mate controls or commands. It's really disappointing. So AI, just the active AI has improved in this update, which is good, but I'm gonna complain about the lack of AI commands and pretty much the lack of nav points too. It just feels too casual. So there's a few immersion breaking things here and there where it's just like, I kind of expected it to be in the next DLC, but this came out so quickly that it's kind of like, oh, okay, cool. It's something nice, but maybe in the next major DLC, we can get all the things that I just listed. I'd happily pay for it. I mean, this DLC was $30, and the stuff that I'm asking obviously would probably require more work. I'd pay $40. If it was implemented well and stuff like that, heck, I'd pay the base game over again just to get all those buildings and dropships and aerospace fighters and all that. Honestly, I would just pay the base game again, because the quality that was introduced into this DLC is amazing for what it actually is. So I would say that my overall impression for this game, it has quality over quantity, and yeah, I can't really complain because it is a very immersive experience. And yeah, anyway, I've pretty much said all my words and drilled it in. I guess that's all I have for you today, guys. So I am working on the realism sound mod, a remake for it, and then in the meantime I'll be working on my other mods and seeing what works and what doesn't. I don't have an ETA for all my mods. They'll just come out when they're ready. I will also be making a Discord channel, so I'll put it in the comments once it is made. Otherwise, that's all for me today, guys. and until next time, this is Tim Wolf.